Well, hey everybody, it's Kurt Duffeck with the Anew Real Estate Team, powered by eXp Realty. And I have been asked a lot of real estate questions lately, and I have some of them have been really good questions. And my good friend Laura has asked me some of these same questions, so I just thought I'd take a minute to bring her on to a live video and see if we can get some of these real estate questions answered and help out a whole bunch of people at once. So Laura, what do you have for me today?
Hey, Kurt, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited. So today I have a big topic that a lot of people are talking about. And precursor, I know you don't have a crystal ball. I know you can't see into the whole future, but um, a lot of people have been asking, and the news has been talking about, should a real estate crash be expected in the near future? I think it's something that's on people's minds. What are your thoughts on if there should be one expected in the near future?
Well, first of all, Laura, I don't have a crystal ball, but what I do have is a magic wand, and so I can tap into certain things. But we'll save that for another day. Yeah, is there going to be a real estate crash in the near future? I really don't think so. We have a term in the real estate world that you may have heard, and it's regarding real estate. It's all about location, location, location. And so, one of the things that we have to consider is that real estate is local, and the market activity and how it goes down, it's all local. So when you look across the nation at rising housing prices and all of the stuff that's going on in the economy, I don't know that I can speak to that topic, but what I can speak to is what's happening here in Central Texas, and particularly in the Austin metro area. And what we're seeing right now is really strong buying activity, stronger than we've seen since 2011. Actually, home sales are up over 13% year over year from this past July to last year, or from last year to this past July. And we have an unusual amount of pending home sales are also up as well. They've erupted. So not only are home sales up, but pending home sales are up too. So there's going to be a whole lot more sales that we're expecting closing throughout the year, and all of that just kind of points in the direction that things are looking really good in Austin. We also have over 100 people a day moving to the Austin metro area. We've got companies here. It's one of the best economies in the nation right now, as I understand it. And we've got companies here like Google and Facebook and Oracle, all of which I've heard on the down low that they're going to be adding jobs here later this year, a significant number, in fact. I know we're on Amazon's target list as possibly putting their headquarters here. I don't know if that's going to happen, but boy, that would be a big boost as well. I'm not sure where we would even put all of those people, because right now inventory levels in Austin are also super low. So what that means is that we're at about 3 months of inventory here in Austin at the rate in which buyers are buying. That means if no other houses went on the market today, we'd be all out of properties in about 3 months. And while I don't think that's really going to happen, what that just goes to show is that it's still a seller's market. We would have to get up to about 5 or 6 months of inventory just before it's what the National Association of Realtors would call a fair, balanced market. And then beyond that, we would be looking at a buyer's market where there's lots of inventory sitting on. I just don't see that happening anytime soon, at least not for the Austin metro area. I think things are really strong.
Very nice. So let's kind of hop back a little bit. So in the news, you'll see like market crash, price correction, market shift. What's kind of the difference between those terms?
That's a great question. Well, a market shift would be more along the lines of what I just mentioned, moving from perhaps a seller's market to a buyer's market, or a buyer's market to a seller's market. We've been in a seller's market for oh my gosh, like 7 or 8 years here in Austin, and and we still are. And I expect that it's going to stay that way again for some time. And again, until we get to about 5, 6 months worth of inventory, it is just a seller's market here. So across the nation, it'd be interesting to watch how things develop and how the economy plays out. The stock market and the real estate market, don't run parallel. So what people are seeing in the news every day about all these stock market crash warnings, that's a whole nother ball game versus real estate. In a real estate market crash, like something similar to what we experienced back in 2008, there are foreclosures everywhere. People can't seem to sell their homes. You're seeing tons and tons of short sales. Well, naturally, you're always going to see that because there'll be people that default on their loan from time to time. But right now, the problem is for buyers is just being able to find a home that meets their needs, and we have more of an issue of affordability here in Austin as prices have been rising on San Francisco like trajectories the last few years. So again, a crash, there's going to be a glut of inventory. Oftentimes loans are hard to get for buyers, and we're just not seeing that right now. So what I think we're experiencing now is more of a market, or we have a chance of experiencing a market correction across the nation. But here in Austin, I just don't know when that's going to happen. I can't see that anytime soon. Sorry for the long-winded answer on that one.
No, that was good. I was going to ask you what are some of the warning signs of a crash, but I feel like you kind of answered that. So that's, when you see a bunch of foreclosures, there's a bunch of houses on the market that aren't selling, stuff like that. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, just really, I would just say the interest rates are always one of those X factors to keep an eye on too. Interest rates have been at historic lows for a very long time. As I understand it, even back before I can remember, like in the 1980s, I guess they experienced interest rates in the teens, like 14, 15. I've heard as high as even 18% on a mortgage. That's a lot of money, and that affects people's ability to pay, in a huge way. Right now, interest rates are hovering around 4% on some of the jumbo loans for the luxury market. They're 4 3/4, closer to 5% perhaps. But yeah, interest rates. If something were to happen in the economy where interest rates were to really take off, that is one of those X factors that could kind of slow things down. That would definitely affect a buyer's ability to keep up with monthly payments. Just a small shift in interest rates can raise someone's monthly payment real fast. But again, right now they're still really low when you compare them to what we've seen in the 1980s and even before that.
Definitely. So I guess the magic question is, do you think we'll see a crash like we did back in 2008? And what has changed since?
Yeah. Well, I don't really think, I think across the nation we'll probably experience a pullback at some point. Cities like Austin, Charlotte, North Carolina, Denver, Colorado, and many more. These are some of the highest growth cities in the country. I think those areas will still stay really strong just because of the economies. But no, I don't really see that coming. Can you just repeat the question though, because I want to make sure I got it all.
Yeah. So what's kind of changed since 2008 that makes you not think that it's going to happen again?
Thank you. There was one other thing that I think is a little bit different right now versus in 2008. Back in 2008, what was happening was there was the mortgage lenders were allowed to do these home loans with practically no documentation required from the buyers. So just about anybody could get a home loan, and they wouldn't even, and if they had halfway decent credit, the lenders were kicking out loans for them, and that made it kind of a scary time. And sure enough, it caught up to bite them in the butt. Buyers started defaulting left and right. Nowadays, there's been some changes in the mortgage industry because of that have made the lenders' restrictions much more complex and thorough. Rather than credit being such a strong weight for the lenders, now they're more concerned with seeing stable income at a stable job. So right now, they want to see that you've worked at the same place usually for 2 years or in the same industry, and that you have a history, you have a good income history. And that's one thing, in addition to having good credit. And they're just a lot more thorough in their research on buyers right now. So I think that just the way that loans get processed is one of the big differences in today's world versus back in 2008.
Definitely. So, just to kind of wrap it up, how can people protect themselves when buying homes, applying for loans, all this kind of stuff, so that they don't get in a financial situation where they can't afford their home?
Well, I think a good place to start is to contact a real estate or a mortgage professional. And I'm not talking about just anybody that you stumble on online. There's a lot of online mortgage brokers, and they're operated by robots and AI and all of that kind of stuff. But really take the time to get someone who can kind of help guide you through the process and who has some experience. A good mortgage broker can sit down and not just quote you the a rate, but they'll sit down and they'll look at all the different banks to see what they're offering and try to compare apples to apples and get you the best loan and the best rate with the best fees for you and your family situation. So if anybody out there is looking for a good mortgage broker here in Central Texas, let me know. I can have a couple of names I can kind of point you in the right direction is a good place to start. Also, hiring a realtor or just someone who can really educate you about the market so that you get a good price and so that you have an advocate on your side. So many times I see that these builders and developers in our area capture buyers in their online web before they can ever have a chance to find an agent to represent them. And next thing you know, the buyers are walking in to the sales office and looking at the model homes and getting wooed by all the fancy decorations and the designer touches. And they don't realize that sales agent that's taking them through there represents the builder. Now, they could have had a real estate agent come in there with them, someone that's experienced and knows the process and knows how to negotiate with those builders, not just on price, but on the terms of the sale. And they could have had representation at really no cost to them. I don't charge buyers a fee. I get paid from the builder. And the other thing is, I think buyers worry that a lot of times builders are going to, that they're not going to be able to negotiate as good of a price with the builder if they walk in there with the real estate agent. And that's just not true, because the builders actually love to work with real estate agents. They like to have that buffer in between themselves and a buyer client for all kinds of legal reasons. And the other thing is, they pay us actually from their marketing budget. So all those billboards and signs and all that type of advertising they do, that's how they pay real estate agents. Not it doesn't get factored in to the sales price that a buyer is negotiating. So again, I think contacting a real estate professional, contacting a good mortgage professional, and just making sure that you have an advocate on your side is a really great place to start for 99.9% of the buyers out there that are thinking of buying, selling, or investing in real estate.
Awesome. So if anybody watching this video wants to get a hold of you, talk more in depth about this, what's the best way to reach you?
Give me a call, shoot me a text, find me on Facebook, email, all of that. I'm easy to find. Kurt Duffeck with the Anew Real Estate Team at eXp Realty in Austin, Texas. And we would love to have a chance to sit down with you and talk with you about your family's needs. If you're thinking about selling or you've been kind of on the fence, we've got a really cool tool on our website as well, where you can do a quick free home evaluation, get a ballpark of what your house might be worth. If you'd like a more in-depth analysis, I can help you with that as well. Like I said, just give me a call.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kurt. It was great talking to you.
All right. Thanks, Laura. We'll talk to you soon.